Recording is on.
Awesome. Hola, hola. This is the weekly developer call of DXDAO, October 25. First developer call after DevCon. After DevCon this year, we missed the past two developer calls because we were extremely busy. Most of the DXDAO people in Colombia. Uh, the past week we were in the retreat in Cartagena, in an island in Cartagena, which went quite well. Before that, in Bogota for DevCon and Infinite Hackathon. So a lot of things to catch up. The agenda for today, as far as I know, will be to do a recap of the technical state of what is happening on each squad and product. And after that, we are going to do a review of the exploit disclosure that was submitted by Dave on Friday, I think it was. And yeah, I'm going to explain what are the next steps and yeah, how we are going to move towards on fixing this on mainnet and Genesis chain. So first, let's start with the go with a recap of our squads. Um, I guess, Ross, do you want to start with DXGov?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So we are just getting back into the groove of things. I think every squad will probably be like that to some extent. But yeah, the focus right now, we got our preliminary report back from the 1.5 governance audits, which is the audits we're going to be migrating DXDAO to. We got that back just over DevCon, and so we're addressing those issues that were found now. Nothing super major, but we've yesterday Augusto went through and split up the tasks and assigned them to the team. So we're focusing on that for the next week or two. In that time as well, we will hopefully be going into production with guilds this week. We were aiming to do it for DevCon and prepared a lot of stuff, but didn't quite manage to get everything out. It was very things were very busy over DevCon and the hackathon. But so hopefully we'll be getting that out into production as well as and letting the development team focus on some Solidity tasks for the next short while. But yeah, I guess that's everything technically. Mostly focusing on the Solidity stuff.
Something that we also did on the retreat is to do a review of the governance 2.0. I mean, the signal proposal that DXDAO agreed to execute 2 years ago. We did an overview of our technical, how do we envision the technical implementation of governance 2.0. There are some things that we didn't consider 2 years ago that now are happening. So it would be great if I guess next week to discuss with Dave, Chris, and Ross. We have a governance developer call, a governance DevOps call, where we need to review the technical requirements on that and the attack plan or the technical execution that we are going to do quite soon, because yeah, they need to happen this year. So a lot of work to be done on that. Hopefully, the most of the actually all the DXGov squad is working on the issues that were submitted by the by Omega on the pre-audit report. So yeah, we need to start planning on how we are going to execute governance 2.0. Okay, next one can be Swapper.
Unfortunately, I don't think I have much of a major update other than that we did the retreat, and then this week in particular, we're trying to transition some of the Swapper features to our internal team. So basically transition from SpaceInch to Swapper again. So trying to assign those tasks and then find the best fit for those features. For example, that would be like the Eco Bridge, Eco Router, and the advanced trading views. That's everything from Swapper, unless I think Zed is probably more knowledgeable if he has anything non-technical. Or Venki.
Yeah, set is on a plane. What about the limit orders?
So the limit orders, we had the demo yesterday as you were on the call. I would say like it's still 80% there, but the main issue is like the main bottleneck is that we have to coordinate with the cow team because right now their limit orders in the future are limited to 3 hours. That's the first issue. Second issue is that they're not going to tap into other AMMs. So if you were to submit a limit order, let's say like a week from now, if it happens, there's going to be a very low chance you will get filled because your order is going to be matched against another cow or another person who's trying to fill you or trade against you. So we're still. Last time I talked to Felix about a month ago, they said they are going to be available back then in 7 to 8 weeks. So assuming with DevCon timeline, I would say they're going to be prepared in 5 weeks. Not sure, just estimating.
Okay.
I can answer to Rob. It's a different type of order. If you look at their API, they have different types of order, and what we do is a pre-sign order. It's like a specific type of order they actually made for Gnosis safes, but we're able to use that from the DAO. I don't actually know how it works when you do it through an EOA wallet, but it is a completely different type of order. And with even the way we do it with DXDAO, like the order kind of goes live once we set the pre-signature, so at the time the proposal executes. And if it turns into a limit order, so if the DXD amount we set is not currently like at a rate market and it cannot be filled, like Adam said, it doesn't like match broadly anymore. It will only ever match in the future through CalSwap liquidity itself. So like once you set like up a limit order through our method, it'll only match if people are matching it directly through CalSwap. Like if CalSwap finds a match on Uniswap or Swapper, it won't actually match that if it's set up as a limit order, only if it's like a direct fill or kill order. I don't know if that makes sense.
What about canceling the order?
You set an expiry date on the order, and you can cancel at any time. But like, of course, for us, we need to pass like a 6-day proposal to cancel. But yeah, we can cancel them. It's just a bit tedious, yeah.
Okay. Well, that was everything from Swapper. We can move to Carrot. Fede? It's okay. Okay, we have to wait for Fede to come back.
Can you hear me now?
Sí, Fede. Sí.
Awesome. So yeah, past week I've been working mainly on the ERC20 KPI token creation flow. Still some work to do there, mainly with the integration with the Oracle flow, like the two kind of intersect. So there's a bit of a complexity there to manage. I've helped Paolo with onboarding basically. So he should start soon dedicating a bit more time to Carrot. So that's good news. And so yeah, main thing there has been trying to explain the platform and giving access to code, etc. And yeah, I mean that's kind of it. Waiting design wise, not much has happened, I think, but yeah, that's kind of it.
Okay, gracias, Fede. Well, I think that was the entire review squad. Maybe we can do Nimi. It will be also if guys, if you can give us, I don't know, an update or something about Nimi.
So main issue with Nimi right now is the subdomains. And this is like a pretty interesting issue that we're trying to solve globally. So when you register a domain with ENS, your domain has two main components, the ID, or basically the name hash, and then the name itself. So let's say adam.eth, and then there's like a long string that represents this as an ID in the database. But the interesting problem right now is if you cannot go from a hash to a adam.eth. And the way to do this is using like a rainbow table implementation. So you have to go to the subgraph, get that record from the subgraph, and then use that. With the subdomains, the way that ENS implemented this, which is a bit of an issue for us, is that they take the hash of your subdomain name and then add it to the, let's say you want to register like sub.adam.eth. Sub is going to be and the ID is going to be the hash of the name and the sub itself, and then .adam.eth. Now the issue is with the subgraph, you cannot, most of the times you cannot resolve the strings sub to like a relative hash or a relative name. So in the subgraph, you have like a, and you can probably, I'm just gonna demo with you, like it's easier to explain this on the screen. So look at this example, if you can see my screen. So you see like Nelson, I think Nelson Rodmar.sysmo.eth. In the subgraph, this is a very interesting example. I'm just gonna copy this, go to, let's see if I have a API. Maybe that is work, I guess. Okay, so this is the controller. So this address owns both Nielsen or Rodmar.eth, but also this subdomain. It's going to query it on the graph itself. And this is the interesting part. So look at this one. So this is his main address, but he also has a subdomain called Nielsen Rodmar.sysmo. And look at the name. It says it's a bracket and then the hash, and then another closing bracket. And also Augusto has the same issue. He has a subdomain that is basically represented this way. I don't know why they're doing this way, but this is the way that ENS has implemented this. And the issue for you is you cannot go from the label hash to this address without having to know what this string means. And the way to do this, you basically need to get this into a hash implementation and then do another search. And I have like this new query says like C equals domains where label hash is equals to this hash, this one, number B. And then you basically query the name. Hopefully you're going to get this. And look at this one, like my query B, I can get this. So I can get the label hash and then replace this part with Nielsen Rodmar again, and then I can get this one. So this is the current issue that we're trying to solve. We so far solved it for Sysmo, and I think I do have the implementation, I believe. So we have the implementation here. So we're basically getting, we're going to determine if the domain has basically a subdomain, and also that domain, if that subdomain is encrypted using this bracket. And then you have to start, and then right now we're just searching our current domains. We know that Nielsen Rodmar also has Nielsen Rodmar.eth, and then we can get that Nielsen Rodmar part from his current domains query list. And then if we're lucky and we find it, so if it doesn't equal null and then it doesn't equal unidentified, we assign it. So here we are reassigning this thing. So we say like name equals domain par. So we're basically breaking down the entire domain into subdomain, and then the name itself, and then the LTD or the extension. We are replacing this part, so basically replacing this weird part with Nelson Rodmar, and then when you join it again, you get the Nelson Rodmar .sysmo.eth. So this is one issue we're currently working on. But also, if you go to nimi.eth, we're still not there, because I think I can probably connect to World Connect. Here I'm simulating connecting with this guy's address. There's also another domain, but we're not showing it because in the domain we're also removing this. So if I remove this implementation, I need to refresh. This one, we haven't figured out this one because this is literally does not exist on the subgraph. And if you go to ENS app itself, so if I go to controller, this will show me every domain owned by this address. It will also say that this address is invalid. And the way, and because it's invalid because they cannot determine what it means. They cannot go from the hash itself to a alphabetical representation of the name. So it's invalid and it's basically lost forever unless this guy deletes it and then reassign it again. So that's the thing we're trying to solve with Nimi. Questions?
Adam, I had a question. Or Augusto, he's trying to talk. You're on mute, Augusto.
Yes, sorry. Yeah, this is how ENS is designed, right? You won't be able to go from a label hash to a name. It's not indexing that. So the only way that you can do it is just how you did, is by trying to get a relation between the name hash and the domain register, the string, the name, right? Or the label. Actually, that would be the label, and constructing the entire subdomain, because you can also have subdomain from subdomains, right? I guess. I think the way it was designed is that you can have as many subdomains as you can.
You should be able to do this. One interesting way that actually the graph guy implemented, so it's called the Rainbow, ENS Rainbow. So this table is currently about 6 gigs, I think 6 gigabyte, and this was like 4 years ago, or this year, I guess. But someone has to run this for you. And if there's no one is willing to do it, you're probably lost in a limbo like this domain itself.
Yeah. Also, so what that domain will be? That domain won't be because the one in green is not that the hash of the
This one?
The Nelson Rodmar, the one in red. Sorry.
I'm not sure if I'm following. So this one, do you mean?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the parent ENS, but the one we're trying to solve is this one. So we don't know what this hash came from because it's like a one-way function, just like a SHA-256. And you cannot go back from this hash to any number. So this could be like abc.nelsonrodmar.eth, but we don't know because we don't know what that means. And right now, the one implementation to do this, to go from, let's say, like abc to a string, is using the rainbow table. But apparently the rainbow table also doesn't have it. So I don't know how this guy got this subdomain, but in Nimi itself, we just have to ignore it the same way that ENS ignores it.
See, exactly. Yes.
Yeah. Adam,
that can be like a private subdomain. Because the only one who knows how to recreate the hash is the ENS
Is the person who
DNS
registered
owner.
it.
Yeah, exactly. Which is kind of awesome because this guy will have like a private subdomain.
Yeah, Adam, can I ask a question? It's interesting, like what you just went through is really complicated. I'm not sure I get it all, but it's interesting you guys are also using or messing around with subdomains on Nimi, mainly because the example of nelsonrodmar.sysmo.eth, a lot of times these subdomains, or most times these subdomains, like the dude, like Nelson Rodmar, doesn't have the final control, right? The owner of sysmo.eth has final control, and they've given like you know, a temporary access to someone, so you can have at nelsonrodmer.sysmo.eth, but at the end of the day, like whoever owns sysmo.eth can like change shit around, right? And so doing something and depending on nelsonrodmar.sysmo.eth seems very risky in my mind. Like I've always had this big concern with subdomains of ETH names because they're just temporarily granting you something, but you don't actually, like I can say always send me money to nelsonrodmer.sysmo.eth until sysmo.eth decides to change it and take the money from me, right?
That is perfectly true. So in the
That's why
in the DNS terminology, yeah, sure, go ahead.
Oh no, that's why I was like I never understood why people are using subdomains of domains that they don't actually control. Now, if you control the domain, the main domain, and you use your own subdomains, that's one thing. But like people that are using, you know, adam@dcl.eth, why would you ever use that subdomain for anything important? Yeah.
Yes, so I think also the way you use control or own, because in ENS terminology, you have like the owner. So it's like this is the ultimate person who can do all things they want with the domain. And then you have the controller that can do day-to-day operations. So for example, they can assign, I think they can do, let me just describe a few things. So they can modify any of these records, but also the owner can modify these things as well. So they have like a slightly higher privilege than the controller itself. So I think one good example would be Nimi.eth. So Nimi.eth, the owner is the avatar. So basically, DXDAO can do anything they want with the domain as long as they're the owner and they can do anything through the multi-call scheme. The control is the multi-sig. So we can do anything we can do, anything we can think of, except for basically reassigning the owner. So that would be changing the content hash, transferring the controller to another controller as well. We cannot do one thing, and that is changing the registrant or the owner itself. So I think that's a very good point from Sky.
Yeah, but like it seems like a lot of people like can you click on the Nelson Rodmar.sysmo.eth name, the one you were just looking at? Like on the ENS app?
Sure.
Because who's gonna be the parent? Okay, the parent. Oh, there
It's
it's different.
Sysmo.eth.
Isn't that different
Yeah.
than the one you just showed? Parent? What does parent mean? That's different than the one you
So
just had.
no, so if we're looking at a subdomain, there is no notion of owner because the owner is the parent and ultimately owns sysmo.eth, but also has control over nelsonrodmar.sysmo.eth. Right now, with subdomains, you have one thing, and that is the controller. So the controller is Nelson himself, but then the owner of this domain as well is also Nelson.sysmo itself.
Gotcha. So this guy's like he's like okay, he's got his Twitter and
Delegating trust.
yeah, he's got his like
He's-
GitHub and his Twitter and everything set, and like he doesn't even control. He's not the parent of this thing. Like that seems insane to me, right?
Not only that, but he's also using the Sysmo domain as his primary ENS. Which, yeah, I mean, I understand the risks.
What the hell does this guy also own Sysmo.eth?
No,
Does he work for
he
Sysmo?
doesn't.
Why would you
don't
ever
think
do
so,
that?
but I don't know. But if you go to sysmo.eth and you can look at their subdomains, there are a lot of people who are actually using this. So you can just scroll down and down and down. I think there could be more, but a lot of people are using this. One big figure that also uses sysmo.eth is Tetranaut himself. I think this is his primary address.
Interesting.
Penis Lewasi. Okay.
Yeah, this is
Yeah, why?
Tetranaut.
Yeah, why does people use this Sysmo?
So I did hear, like, I don't know how you do this, maybe you know, but I did hear that if like they give you adam.sysmo.com.eth, there is some way where they can like burn their ability to ever change it. And so like if they started selling, let's say I own, ethereum.eth or whatever, and I want to start giving everyone, I want to sell subdomains, adam.ethereum.eth, sky.ethereum.eth, then ethereum.eth could eventually just burn their ability to ever control those. And therefore, once that is known to be burned, you could then actually always own adam.ethereum.eth, I think. But I don't know how, like, when you come to the end of the expiry date or whatever. But
It's
I
not
heard that
possible.
they can burn. No, I heard they can burn their control to be able to override you somehow. I don't know how though.
One way to do this is to extend the core registrant of ENS. So you're writing your own implementation of ENS, and then for this you will also have to get like a new extension. So that would be like E2, whatever that is. And then in this implementation, you can say whatever subdomain we give out to other people, we by the premise of the contract itself, we're not going to have the ability to take over the subdomain itself. So you can have like sky.ethereum.eth2 for as long as you have access to the private key, and then you can transfer. But from the contract perspective, you can never change ownership for someone else. So the only person who owns this sky.ethereum.eth2 is you.
Yeah, the way to that will be to have a smart contract on a root domain, if we want to go like that. For example, let's say the example of DXL, right? So DXL creates a smart contract that is going to own the ENS of DXL, and this smart contract allows DXL to control his domain and issue or transfer subdomains to other addresses. And that's it. And once it transfers the subdomain, it can be encoded or created in a way where you give complete control over the subdomain to the people to the user where you issue it. Right, Adam?
What Medusha just shared with Ethmojis, they've done it, but I don't know how they did it. But that is an example of what I was describing, and Medusha shared it in the Twitter. Like, if you can figure out how they did that, once you get it, you always have that domain. They claim I've heard there is a way to do it. So whatever Ethmoji did is probably.
I mean, yeah, it can be done. It can be done. I don't know if they actually did it, but yeah, it can be done. Later, if we take a look at their code, we can see if it was actually done. But the thing is that ENS give you by right, I mean, by the way how is it designed, and ENS have complete control over the subdomains, right? That is how it is designed. If you want to change that rule, you need to create a smart contract or something that is going to restrict you to execute this power over subdomains from your domain, from your root domain. Anyway, seems like we are also like kind of deviating from from the initial issue, which it was awesome that you shared it, Adam. It would be great if later you can share how you guys are going to fix it or implement it. Looks like you will need to hack it in a way somehow. So if you can share later how.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Awesome, gracias. I also share a link of how it is over there. Maybe I can share later on the developer chat on how the ENS algorithm work and how they are generated and the ENS documentations. So if someone has more questions, I think the documentation of ENS is quite complete. So you can go there and take a look. Now we can go to the last thing on the agenda. That will be the expert disclosure submitted by Dave on June, and I'm going to share here the link for the DAO topic. I think it's quite clear to follow everything that happened if you go and see the topic comment from the part of DXgov. We merge a pull request with a lot of reviewers this morning, and we have a new contribution reward deployed on mainnet and Genesis chain. The next steps will be to register this new scheme, test it, and once we feel comfortable about it, we can remove the old one. And yeah, that will be what I think it will be happening next. And yeah, I don't know if anyone has a question about the expert disclosure. Like I said, you can follow up what's happened there. I posted a timeline on what happened from my part. I tried to also submit a proof of existence of the vulnerability that was reported by Dave. This is very useful, and in case, for example, let's say in the future, they asking what happened if someone else reported. In my eye, he would have priority, right? Because he was the first one who reported that vulnerability. So I think it was quite interesting to share that. Something that I think we have to work on the future would be to include more smart contracts into the HATs, into the HATs vault. I was talking today with the developer. The person who's in charge of the developer operations in HAT, and he told me that Angler, exactly, gracias Dave. He told me that it's quite easy to add more smart contracts. So my goal is to get a list of the next smart contracts that we want to add in HAT this month, create a single proposal, and figure out if we are going to need to add more bounties on it, and have them there. Let's say the next thing will be to decide whether if we are going to give the reward today using HATs or we are going to give it individually from the DXL avatar. Well, I guess the reward amount is something that we should discuss more on the governance call maybe tomorrow. And yeah. I don't know, John. If you have DXE there and you want to put it out, yes, you can. Someone else has any question about the exploit disclosure from Dave? We have Dave here, so you can also ask Dave. I don't know, Dave, do you want to add something on what I said? Did I miss anything?
No, I don't think so. I think the forum post is quite clear. But yeah, if anyone has questions, I'm happy to answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, about HATs, it will be also to maybe later review the process on how we are processing the vulnerabilities that have been submitted. We received some vulnerabilities, but they were not accepted, and yeah, that's something that we should work on this month. I think I have my mixed feelings about hats and about how it's work. By the way, something that we are using right now, and it's our first alternative, the easiest thing to use for us now. So I guess let's continue using it. Okay, looks like no one else had any questions. Well, it is there my personal review. I think some things were clearly wrong on how we handle this, and well, let's learn from our mistakes and try to let's make sure that that David is going to receive the reward that he deserves. That will fall into the DXR responsibility now. A lot of people have reviewed the PR John, mostly all the DXCOP team. Not Federico. Fede, you can review it. Also, I have the link there. Not too. Only the DXCOP team, but yeah, it was shared there on Friday. So, again, you guys, if you consider, Fede, if you can, that would be awesome. And if you find anything or you want to change anything, let me know, because we haven't submitted the new contribution rewards to be used. So we are still on time. The only thing that we changed was the function that validated the proposal parameters. So we requested one period reward to be used, and also what else? A period length, that is the amount of time that you have in order to claim the reward. We always use it as 0, so we are requesting it to be 0. Yeah, Nathan, we are not talking about the reward on this call. Only regarding the technical implementation. Maybe that's a good poll to be added on the DAO talk topic, which I think so far I've been the only one. We have this proposition on his amount of reward, and I propose to do something based on take the critical vulnerability hats as an example, as a starting point. So I guess the value will be between that. Okay. I guess no question regarding the exploit disclosure. Fede, Adam, if you can review it, that would be great. Let me know if you want to change anything. We have the topic there on DAO Talk. It would be great if we could have more people involved or expressing their feelings there, their opinion. And that would be it, right? Something else that we want to talk about? Okay, I guess not. Thanks everyone for joining. Hopefully we are going to have a better agenda for next week with more stuff. And yes, gracias. See you on Keybase.
Thanks. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.